Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I run a blog called delightfullysarah.com and I am making videos documenting my nursing journey. So if you've been following along with my nursing journey, you'll know that I took the ATI TEAS about a month ago. So the number one question that I've gotten since I've taken it, is how I studied, what I found helpful, like different strategies I used to study, like the books I used to study, all that good stuff. So I'm going to be talking about it today. So in this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about the books that I used. I'm going to be getting into detail on what I found helpful and what I didn't, because I used a lot of books. I'm going to be talking about tips that you can use for information retention and just my general test experience, the mistakes that I made, all that good stuff. So to start off, I gave myself 5 weeks to study. I pretty much I registered for my test, I think, on September, first week of September. And then I took my test second week of October 15th. And pretty much at that point, I was kind of like, okay, so I'll give myself 1 week per section to study. And then my last week is going to be maintenance / just chilling before the test. I immediately started researching books because I didn't know where to start. So I found this, I just typed in how to study for TEAS, and everyone was holding this book in the thumbnails. So I bought this, and then I also found this on Amazon. I bought it because it came with a bunch of practice tests, and I figured that would be helpful. It's the Smart Edition TEAS Full Study Guide. And then I also, when I booked my test, I figured, why not? What the heck? I will buy the ATI study manual, and I bought the package with the 2 practice tests. And then I did some digging on LibGen. You guys know how much I love LibGen. Basically, it's like a digital library that has every single textbook, or not every single, but a lot of it has a lot of textbooks on it, so you can download it as ebook versions. Love LibGen. So I downloaded the Kaplan, also a few other lesser known ATI books. And my general strategy was to read through a section in each of these books. So I started with Mometrics. I would read through a section of that. I would read through the whole reading section. But as I was studying, I would highlight stuff in the book, and I would also annotate just a little bit, not nothing too crazy. Let's see, just flipping to random stuff. I would just highlight stuff. I would underline, take little notes. You can't, it's more so for the science section than anything else, but yeah, just take little notes and stuff, for the test. And then I would take a practice test. And then I would highlight whatever question I wasn't sure of, whatever question I guessed on. And then I would go back, check my answers, also take note of the ones I got wrong. I would reference the concepts. Hopefully this makes sense. I would look at the concepts that the question was asking. And then I would go back into the section and read the concepts that I didn't understand. So say I was noticing a theme where all of my questions that I was getting wrong was denotative and connotative meaning of words, because it would tell you what, I don't know, I don't want to get striked for copyright, but when you go back to the answer key, it will tell you the topics that the question pertained to, and then I would go back and read those. Except when I would go back and read them, I would read them in a different book, because I just know myself, and I know that if I reread the same thing, I'm going to just gloss over it, and I'm not going to be as attentive. So that was why I got multiple books. So then I would go back into a different book. I would find the topics of the questions I got wrong in the last practice test, and then read over the new ones in the new book. And then I would take another practice test, and I would just keep doing that and just keep going through books until I got the score that I wanted. So that's how I studied. something that I did for information retention, like memorizing things, but not just memorizing for the sake of just knowing it, but just also like understanding it and being able to recall it on a test, was lecturing. So I would sit down, I would reread the section. This was like super helpful for science in particular for me. You could also do this for math or English or whatever. I would read the section. I would write my own notes like separately on another piece of paper. I like typed it out on my laptop. And then, sorry if you can hear my mom, she's like really loud. And then I would literally, and these ended up being my review videos. I sat down, I forced myself to be able to explain something. Some of them I got kind of lazy and I just like read off the notes that I wrote, but condensing the information in the book like forces you to figure out like connections and things. And then again, saying it out loud helps you remember it, and then also forces you to be able to explain it. So, you know, if you have a friend who's taking the TEAS with you, you can do it with them, or you can film a video like I did. You don't have to post it though. Or you could just like pretend lecture it to like a stuffed animal or something. So I found that extremely helpful for remembering the science. And then you could do that for math too. So yeah, that's pretty much like how I studied. In all actuality, the way it worked was, my plan was to use 1 week per section. The reading ended up taking me like 3 days. The English took me 1 day. The math took me like 3 days or so, and then science took the whole rest of the time. So if you're watching this before you schedule your test, I would give yourself 6 to 8 weeks to study, ideally. And then just know yourself. Like if you've taken anatomy and physiology in the past, like at college level, you should be fine. You shouldn't really need to spend that much time on the science. But if the anatomy is new information for you, I would give yourself at least 3 weeks to study. At least 3 weeks, because the amount of information and the depth that you need to understand the information isn't too bad, but it's more than just, oh, your head has cranial bones. Like it's more than that. So I tripped up on muscles. So I would spend some time studying the major muscles in the body, because none of my books covered muscles like at all. Like they covered like the physiology of muscles, but not the anatomy. So that came up on my test and I was kind of like, huh. I would obviously go with studying the major organ systems and stuff, but also muscles. Don't forget that. That was not in any of my review videos because it wasn't in any of my books, but it was on the test. So yeah. So going into what I found helpful and what I didn't, this is just like personal opinion as far as like the books that I purchased, by the way. So I would say that the ATI study manual is like super helpful with understanding the gist of what's going to be tested. It's not comprehensive. It doesn't cover everything. So I would not use this as like your end all be all for studying. Just like if you are like reviewing like, you know, a week before the test, this is like perfect to just review. I would not use this book to learn anything. It does not do well at explaining things. It kind of just like lists off facts. It's like a review book basically. Like this is not meant to teach you anything. I used this book like a few days before the test just to review, and I'm glad I did not start out studying with this book because it doesn't teach you anything. The Metrics, on the other hand, go super in depth. It's very helpful if you're learning new information. However, the extent, like the depth that it goes is a little much for this test. Like there's a lot of information in here that isn't important. So if you're using this book as your end all be all, you just need to keep in mind that a lot of the stuff in here is just for learning and not necessarily for test prep. Hopefully that makes sense. Like you don't need to know every little thing that's in this book. Like I'm just telling you point blank, like a lot of it's just like fluff. I shouldn't say that it's fluff because it is information and it's good to know. You don't need to memorize this whole book. So for me, I would get extremely overwhelmed when I was studying with this because I'm like, I was going into it blind because I only took the TEAS once. Like I didn't know what was going to show up on the test. And when I'm reading this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't understand any of it. Like I can't memorize things in here. I would get like overwhelmed. It's not important. Just know the main points in this book. And then for the Smart Edition, this is good if you are reading the Metrics book and you need things broken down to a simpler level, like me. So this is like the basic of the basic. Again, I would not recommend using this as your end all be all studying or study guide, because this is like the super basic stuff, at least for science. They all pretty much cover the same concepts for reading, English, and math. It's just the science section, for whatever reason, like this is just like, like, I don't know how this happened. This is like a college, like, this is like a textbook almost. And this is like an 8th grade textbook. You know what I mean? Like college 8th grade. Like that's like the depth. I guess that's the only way I could like think of comparing them. So it's funny because the TEAS says that it tests concepts taught in grades 7 through 12. I don't know. And I took college level anatomy in 12th grade, and still, like, it was just like some of the stuff was like, what? So I did miss half of it because I was out like my senior year for medical reasons, but still, it was like, so yeah, basically I'm saying I would use a combination of different study materials if you can. I would recommend getting stuff off of eBay, Amazon, even like looking for sales, like ATI does bundles. Oh, I forgot to talk about the test. So I don't recommend doing this. 2 days, maybe, I think it was a day before my actual test, I took the practice test, like the ATI one. I did Form C and Form B. I took Form C first, I think. Big mistake. Form C is like absolutely nothing like what the test is, at least for the science section. It was like another level. And it freaked me out because I think I got like a 60 on the science, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fail. Like I'm not gonna do well. I'm not gonna get to nursing school. I was like freaking out because this is the night before my test and I had no time to study anything. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, some of the questions, or at least what they ask, showed up again on my actual test. So I would say that some of them, not all of them, but like aldosterone, like for whatever reason, like I wouldn't have thought to study that. It came up on my test and I was like, thank God I used my study strategy of writing down the things I got wrong, because it showed up on my test. Like I like basically copied because they did like a rationale like on the practice tests, like on the ATI, like, you know, the computerized ones. I like copied and pasted the rationale for every right and wrong answer. Like every wrong answer that I got, I copied and pasted the rationale for each of the wrong answer choices and also the right one. And I just put that in a separate note file, and I skimmed over that for dear life, like right before my test. And a few of the stuff came up again, and I was like, oh my God. But anyways, getting off topic. Form B, I don't know if any of you like are gonna, you know, buy the study package, not sponsored, but Form B was more like what the test actually looked like. Form C freaks me out, like really freaking bad, like so bad. I was like, oh my God. But Form B was better. So on test day, I had to work from 5 a.m. to 11. I took my test at 12. And if you want to watch how that went, I have a video on reacting to my test scores. I can't really give that much advice that I would think would be helpful for the English or reading section, because those are my weaker ones. All I would say about that is to not make the same mistake I did and only spend 1 day studying for English. I would definitely take multiple practice tests for that. Use the strategy of, you know, going back and reviewing the concepts that you either weren't sure of or got wrong. I think I only took like 2 practice tests, and I was like, yeah, whatever, close enough. And then I just didn't do anything else. So yeah, for the math, I got a perfect score, and basically I would look to just understand percentages, ratios, fractions, decimals, converting between those, because those were the bulk of the test, at least for me. So if you understand also how to check yourself, so you know you got the right answer. That's how I got a perfect score. It was because I understood the math well enough that I was able to go back and plug in my answer to know it was the right one, to be confident. There might have been like one or two questions that I had zero idea how to solve, but I literally just plugged the answer into the question to get the answer. So, yeah. So I would understand the math well enough to, if you can understand it just on a level that you are able to do that, you'll do fine on math. If math isn't your strongest subject, especially if for a lot of people learning math from a textbook is very difficult. It wasn't that bad for me because it was just review. Like it was basically all review. Like I looked at it and I was able to be like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. But if, math wasn't your strongest subject in high school, I would highly, highly, highly recommend going through the topics and then looking up YouTube videos and just having someone, show you. Because a lot of, like, math is one of those things that's like, I don't know who can learn math from a textbook. I can't. Looking up the videos if that gets stressful. And then again, if, shoot me a DM on Instagram, I can help you with problems, or as I'm trying to word this correctly. Whatever I can do to help, just let me know. If I can't help you, I can't. I'm sorry, but I probably can. So if you need me to explain anything, like, please don't hesitate to shoot me DM on Instagram at Lively Sarah. I would be more than happy to answer your math problems. At least the TEAS ones. I did not take calculus, so don't come at me with any like advanced stuff. But like, if you need help with TEAS math, like, let me know. Yeah. So yeah, for science, I would say definitely the lecturing helped, for sure. Understanding how the systems work on a level that you're able to explain it to someone, I would recommend doing that. And then reading was more abstract, so for me it was just repetitiveness, going back, taking practice tests, reviewing, taking more practice tests, and that was the extent of my studying for that, because I didn't, reading and English just doesn't click for me the way that math and science does. And that was pretty much it, besides, making a point to get enough sleep, making a point to eat fruits and vegetables and, things that would help my brain focus and concentrate. Also studying in the same place around the same time every day, if you can help it. I studied at my public library. I would make trips there like almost every day, a few times a week, studying at like the same table, drinking water, like lots of water. I stopped drinking water now, but like while I was studying, I would drink lots of water. And yeah, those are pretty much my tips on how to study for the TEAS. That's exactly how I got the score that I got, was doing those things. And then also like just being confident. Like I experienced test anxiety. Like I remember when I was taking the ACT, like I would get so nervous because I'm like literally like there's so much pressure to do well, especially if this is, for a lot of people, this is the make or break of whether they're getting into nursing school. Like me, like this is literally, like, this is the only thing that I have to go on is my TEAS scores. So I'm like, I gotta do all this. But just accepting whatever comes. For me, having a backup plan, like, okay, if I don't do well on the first try, I'm allowed to take it twice, so I'll just take it again. If I don't get into nursing school, I'll do a CNA program or an LPN program. I got this. So either way, I'm going to get where I need to be. And just understanding that. This way it's like less pressure on you to do well at this exact time in your life. Because like, it's a journey. Like there are so many people who apply to nursing school, don't get in, apply again, don't get in, apply again, don't get in, apply, and they get in. So you just got to keep trying. So hopefully I can take my own advice when the admissions decisions letters roll in. Because I think that'll start happening in April, I think. So right now it's November, so just gotta sit tight until then. But yeah, so hopefully you found this helpful. If you want me to make more videos like this, please drop the suggestions in the comments. Also like this video so I know to make more of these. If you want to see my face again or want to hear my tips, you can subscribe. And I will see you next time. Oh, also, I forgot to say, I'm so sorry. Just kidding. Like, I won't see you next time. This is the next time. Shout out to my friend Caitlin for crocheting this scarf. It's so beautiful. If you need holiday gifts or like just a gift for yourself, something cozy and nice, I have the silver one from her Etsy shop. I'll link it down below. Like, please, like, go buy. They're so pretty and they're so soft. And all your friends and family will love them, and you will also love them, and please buy one.